Congress to lead us into Christian prayers, please. Auntie Gladys, if you are around. If Auntie Gladys is not around, Auntie Sarah, please. Auntie Sarah is not around, Madam Chelsea Hill, please.
Good morning, everyone. Kindly let's pray. Our Father and our God, we thank you for this particular day. We thank you for an history-breaking occasion. We thank you for all you've done behind the scenes. We thank you for all the people you have used, the wisdom, the knowledge, the understanding, the support, for everything. We are grateful. We say thank you, Jesus. As we are about to start this program, we declare it open in the name of the Father, the Son, and the Holy Spirit. We ask that Holy Spirit, you guide us too. Give us wisdom, give us knowledge, give us understanding. Help us to go through successfully, and at the end, all glory to the Father. In Jesus' name.
Thank you very much, Madam Hill. That sweet prayer. So for the Muslim prayer, I ask all of us to read the Al-Fatiha, and so we actually establish a sense of unity and sympathy that exists in the labor movement. Al-Fatiha. Bismillahirrahmanirrahim. Bismillahirrahmanirrahim. Rabbil alamin. Ar-Rahmanirrahim. مالك يوم الدين إياك نعبد وإياك نستعين اهدنا الصراط المستقيم صراط الذين أنعمت عليهم غير المغضوب عليهم ولا الضالين آمين. I call on the Acting Commissioner of Labour to lead us through from this point.
Thank you so very much, Mr. Sina. Please stay with me. Good morning, ladies and gentlemen, the Honorable Vice President, Ministers, present, well wishes, the diplomatic community, the Port Estate, all protocols observed. Officially, I want to welcome you all to the Maiden National Labour Conference 2025, and we also want to extend our gratitude to our well wishes and supporters, sponsors, and donors from far and wide. Thank you so very much. A round of applause for all of us. Thank you. You are welcome. You are heartily welcome. Wherever you're getting us from, far and wide, international, you are welcome. Whatever platform you're using, you are welcome to the Maiden National Labour Conference 2025. Having said that, we want to have time of statement, and I want to urge our speakers to limit the statements within 3 minutes. Today is a very big day. We have an agenda set already. The conference will kickstart immediately after the opening by the Vice President. On that note, permit me to welcome the representative from the Seattle Labour Congress to make a statement for 3 minutes. Ladies and gentlemen, Labour Congress, please.
Good morning once again. Good morning, Honorable Vice President. Good morning, government ministers here present, diplomatic, and media, ladies and gentlemen. Labor market, as is today, stands at the crossroad of an unprecedented era, defined by rapid technological advancement, digital transformation, and the urgent need for a just, inclusive transition. The future of work is not a distant concept. It is unfolding right before us, reshaping industries, redefining skills, and challenging us to ensure that progress leaves no one behind. This is the new tall order that we all must confront in our attempt to reshape the future of work. Therefore, a national conference, which is the first of its kind in Sierra Leone, is more than welcome, and its theme, shaping the future of work, innovation, digital transformation, and just transition, is carefully choosing to reflect the current dynamics within the labor market, not only in Sierra Leone, but the world over. Mr. Chairman, permit me to state that this era of technological innovation, which has brought enormous benefits in the labor market, has also brought with it immeasurable disruptions in jobs and pattern of labor relations. Mr. Chairman, ladies and gentlemen, innovation is the driving force behind the future of work. Artificial intelligence, automation, and the internet are revolutionizing how we produce, how we consume, how we communicate, and how we collaborate. While technology creates new opportunities, some have fear for job displacement. This is apparent. The key in all this lies in adaptation. Creating lifelong learning opportunities must become the norm and not the exception. Government, business, educational institutions must collaborate to skill, reskill workforces, ensuring that employees thrive in an evolving landscape. Mr. Chairman, the second point to note here is that digital transformation is accelerating at breakneck speed. Remote work, gig economy, and digital platform have redefined traditional employment. While these efforts offers flexibility and global opportunity, it also raises concern about job security, workers' rights, mental well-being. This is where tripartite structure must align itself to developing policies to strike a balance within the labor market framework, embracing digital tools while safeguarding fair wages, social protection, and work life. Policies must evolve in protecting workers in non-traditional employment, ensuring that the digital economy is equitably and sustainable. The third component, Mr. Chairman, ladies and gentlemen, that I must mention here today is our quest to shape the future of work in the imperative just transition. As we innovate, we cannot ignore the human cost. Automation may replace certain jobs, particularly in manufacturing and routine-based sectors. A just transition must ensure that workers in declining industries are supported through retraining programs, social safety net, and new job creation in green and tech-driven sectors. Mr. Chairman, ladies and gentlemen, climate change adds another layer to the discourse in reshaping the future. The shift to a green economy must be inclusive, provide opportunities for mineral mining, factory workers, and others to transit into renewable energy, circular economy, and sustainable agriculture. Mr. Chairman, ladies and gentlemen, the aforementioned three variables in reshaping the future of work could be adequately put in place through collaborative and inclusive approach. No single entity can navigate this transformation alone. Business must invest in their workforce. Governments must enact forward-thinking policies. Education must redesign curriculum for future work. And workers must embrace a mindset of continuous growth. Together, we can build a future where innovation drives prosperity, digital tools empower rather than exclude, and progress is shaped by all. Mr. Chairman, ladies and gentlemen, I would like to conclude by stating that future of work is not determined, it is ours to shape. Let us commit to a pattern where technology serves humanity, where no worker is left behind, and his rights are guaranteed, and where progress both groundbreaking and just.
Thank you, Brother Max Conte from the Southern Labour Congress. Indeed, it's groundbreaking. And this is just the genesis of the transformative agenda by the Minister himself, Mr. Mohamed Rahman Suare. It's a marathon, and we are hopeful that at the end of the day it will be successful. Can you please give a round of applause for Southern Labour Congress? Away from that, we want to welcome the Southern Employers Federation to make a statement, please. Can we have a representative? All right, thank you very much, the Tripartite partners. Let us welcome all the way from Abuja, Nigeria, the International Labour Organization representative, Vanessa Pala. She's traveled all the way. Welcome, ma'am. Thank you. Round of applause, please.
Thank you so much. Solidarity. Forever. Forward. Ever, backward. Where are the labor unionists in the room? Thank you so much. Let me take this opportunity to welcome the Vice President of Sierra Leone, also my Minister of Employment and Social Security. I also want to recognize the leadership, Labour Congress, as well as the Employers Federation. And to acknowledge ambassadors in our midst, representatives of our UN sister agency, and members from the various government ministries. My 3 minutes that I have, so allow me to please stand on the already established protocol. It is indeed for the International Labour Organization to be part of this maiden conference. And I want to really emphasize the benefit, the importance of social dialogue. Because without social dialogue and platforms that are created for the government, the employers, and the workers to sit together and dialogue on matters that affect the day-to-day lives of the workers as well as the needs of the enterprises, will not be able to achieve lasting solutions and will not even have an opportunity for creating solutions for the challenges that my colleague from the Labour Federation also spoke about. And I also want to take this opportunity to really thank the government of Sierra Leone through the leadership of the minister for really creating a platform and really convening this maiden conference as an opportunity dialogue, opportunity to listen to one another, opportunity to understand the challenges that we are experiencing, and most importantly, to collectively design the solutions that we can collectively address. So I'm looking forward to the outcome of this conference, and we stand ready as the International Labour Organization to support all our constituencies in really achieving some of the recommendations that will come out of this important. At the heart of this maiden conference lies a powerful truth. There cannot be decent work without dialogue, no growth without justice, and no peace without respect workers' life. And I also want to acknowledge the journey that we have walked with the country in terms of reviewing the labor legislation, because we wanted to make sure that the labor laws are aligned to national labor standards, but also to make sure that they reflect and they address context and the realities that the workers are experiencing in Sierra Leone. And this conference arrived at a very opportune and critical time. Our labor force faces many challenges under development, informality, and so forth and so on. Yet within these challenges lies many opportunities. And shaping this future of work presents us a very opportune moment for us to articulate what, as Sierra Leone, we see as imperative in shaping this future of work. The future of work that we want, the future of work that we will direct, and not one that is imposed on us. So I do look forward to the dialogue and the conversation in that regard. We must also recognize the importance of sustaining our enterprises. Jobs are created by the private sector, and therefore the private sector requires a conducive environment to facilitate those jobs, to create those jobs, to maintain those jobs. as well as opportunities for those with entrepreneurial skills and abilities to be able to create jobs. And most importantly, to ensure that we extend decent work coverage to workers in the informal economy. We know that a lot of our workers here are operating in the informal economy. And we know that the informal economy is one of those sectors where we see a lot of deficit as far as the decent work agenda is concerned, where there is no protection, there is no access to occupational safety health. There are no opportunities to dialogue and engage on fundamental principles and rights at work. And I want to really acknowledge the work that we have done with my colleague and the support that we continue to provide to NASIC, for example, to extend social protection to workers in the informal economy. Ladies and gentlemen, we must also recognize as well that we need to be mindful of the digitization that is taking over the world, the artificial intelligence that is taking over the world. We cannot ignore, we cannot avoid, but we can only be part of it so that it does not overwhelm and it does not dictate us to a direction that will disrespect workers' rights as well as limit the opportunity for workers to enjoy their rights. As we deliberate, let us action and reflect our shared commitment to build a labor market that is inclusive and fair, to support enterprise growth while upholding decent work standards, to empower women and youth through the access to opportunities, as well as to ensure that no worker is invisible, that no voice not. Let this maiden conference mark the beginning of sustained cooperation, encouraging action and meaningful reform. Together, through dialogue, commitment, and solidarity, we can shape a future where work is not a burden, but a source of dignity, purpose, and progress. Social dialogue is the bridge, jobs are the goal, and workers' rights are the foundation. Solidarity.
What a progressive statement. Thank you, Madam Vanessa Parra from the ILO. Indeed, the future of work is bright. We can now see the light at the end of the tunnel. Ladies and gentlemen, we want to go on a issue from the diplomatic community in respect for international cooperation. Permit me to welcome HE Ambassador Wang Cheng for the People's Republic of China to make a statement, please.
5 decades since we established our diplomatic ties in 1971. Throughout, China now is the biggest trade partner of Sierra Leone and the main source of foreign investment. And our economic and trade cooperation face new important opportunities. Last year, His Excellency President Julius Maada visited China twice, reached important consensus with President Xi Jinping, and provide strategic guidance for our bilateral relations in the next stage. We look forward to working closely with Sierra Leone to make our practical cooperation more fruitful, including global collaboration in the area of employment, labor, and social security. On the following: creating more jobs. The Chinese companies in Sierra Leone presently employ more than 10,000 local people. Thank you. We want to see more investments here and more job opportunities. We also encourage the Chinese companies to develop a localization strategy so as to better benefit the Sierra Leoneans and support Sierra Leone in enhancing industrialization and self-driven development capabilities. The second, establishing good industrial relations. The Chinese government always asks Chinese companies overseas to run their businesses legally and observe local laws and regulations. We are ready to work together with the ministry and other relevant departments to do more work to facilitate this work, including hold a roundtable or workshop on policy briefing, policy introduction, advocacy, and explanation. 3. Promoting human capital development. Over the past 20 years, the Chinese government has provided scholarships to more than 1,800 Leone students and invited almost 8,000 Leoneans for short-term training or exchanges in China. Last year in October, together with the Ministry of Employment, Labor and Social Security, we sent 25 participants to China for training in installation and use of solar energy equipment. Now they are playing active role in Sierra Leone's energy production and transition. We will continue to do so. We welcome more Sierra Leonean students to study in China, bring advanced technology and experience back, and contribute for Sierra Leone's development. Fourth, strengthening exchanges and mutual learning. As the biggest developing country with a population of 1.4 billion, China actively brings into full play the potential ability and value of each individual and promotes the people's all-round development so as to provide powerful labor.
Voluntarism is key, and it's an engine when it comes to the business of employment. Please permit me to welcome a representative from the Voluntary Service Overseas to make a statement for 3 minutes. VSO. A round of applause, please.
Honorable Vice President, Minister of Employment, Labor and Social Security, Diplomatic Corps, distinguished guests, I bring you greetings from Voluntary Service Overseas Sierra Leone and Global. Voluntary Service Overseas has been in operation in Sierra Leone for over 60 years, and our work focuses mainly on education, health, and livelihoods. With our work at VSO, we create the desired future with value through our volunteering for development approach. VSO Volunteers for Development approach focuses on creating a change by working with local communities, partners, and volunteers to identify challenges, inclusive messaging, and youth-led participation. Because volunteering is key to national development, we improve the workforce through volunteers. Over the years, we have been able to train, recruit over 2,000 volunteers in Sierra Leone and place in different districts to support education programs, health, and livelihood. Our volunteering services run for a period of 2 years, where we recruit skilled, professional, and experienced volunteers. And I will not just stop at being developed, but we want to commit to the ministry and the government of Sierra Leone that as our organization that value volunteering will ensure that the policy is implemented and will provide all the necessary support needed to ensure that all other related activities that will enhance the smooth implementation of the policy is being supported by our organization. As we celebrate today the National Labour Conference by shaping the future of work, we knew we cannot shape the future of work without a volunteering policy. And we cannot shape the future for better services if we do not build.
Thank you, representative from VSO. Ladies and gentlemen, migration has become a global phenomenon. It's the biggest debate and argument. Right from the Sahel Desert across the Mediterranean Sea. Permit me to welcome a representative from the International Organization for Migration to make a statement. A round of applause, please.
Honorable Minister of Labour, Social Security and Employment, ladies and gentlemen, I would like to stand on protocols and say that it's a pleasure and an honor for IOM to be in this forum and to join the Ministry and the Government of Sierra Leone during this maiden edition of the National Labour Conference 2025. And this is emerging national and global trends and seek an avenue for protection and promotion of workers' rights, including migrant workers, to catalyze and contribute to national development. The world of work is currently undergoing major global transformations. And taking into consideration the massive technological advances, emerging trends in labor migration patterns, varying models of work that are shaped by digitization and remote work, we cannot be left behind as Sierra Leone, and it is fitting for the nation to be part of this transformation. And therefore, reshaping the labor force to meet the present-day realities must be the goal for all of us present here today. The theme of this inaugural conference sets the stage and underscores the need to create an enhanced work ecosystem that contributes to national development. Promoting decent work is a key component of the 2030 agenda, particularly as highlighted in goal number 8, which has direct links to labor migration, as well as important connection in employment, inequality, and migration. Consequently, policy instruments and laws should ensure that migrant workers who are seeking opportunities abroad should be protected, promoting their regular, safe, and orderly migration, and ensuring that those who already mentioned, human mobility has not been more central in major global transformations than today. In Sierra Leone, labor migration continues to shape the country's economic, social, and cultural landscape, and spurring economic growth, as well as catalyze investment, trade, knowledge exchange, as well as scholarships and study grants for students. This, in turn, reduces the risk of many young people who, over the years, have fallen victim to human trafficking and migrant smuggling. I wish also, on behalf of IOM, to applaud efforts of the government of Sierra Leone through the Ministry of Labour for the great efforts in shaping the future of work in Sierra Leone through updating and developing national policy instruments to support the efforts to make sure that migrants and workers are protected at all times. we must create an enabling workforce that is inclusive and right-based. The rights of workers at the center of its policies and implementation. The youth should have access to skills development and training to ensure that they are able to meet with the ever-changing workforce demands, are socially protected, and that the workers are strengthened. Those that wish to migrate to other countries in a proper manner using the already government parts, civil societies, organizations, youth network, and organizations, and communities are able to achieve a whole of society approach to address issues in the labor market, as well as providing necessary labor migrants and in the diaspora. I thank you for your attention and I wish you fruitful deliberations.
The future is still bright. Let there be light. Thank you. Put your hands together. Make welcome Employers Federation representative. It's better late than never. Ojokolia. 3-minute statement, please.
Good morning. Honorable Vice President, all protocols observed. Is that first, I've been at the radio station since with another delegation. Unions, we have been talking on the radio and I just left the street. I left there and came straight to this meeting after so many calls. But it was useful we went to the radio and television because now people are aware of what we're doing here. These provisions to all over the country, even if you are in the farthest point of the country, you should know what has changed. And this is the process that we are engaging on. We want to assure
in this very important program, and to thank the Vice President and the leadership of the Ministry of Employment, Labor and Social Security for this brilliant initiative. As we continue to see the transformation in the world of work, the idea of establishing or organizing a national labor conference with particularly the theme that has to do shaping the future of work is very commendable. And for me, as a former Minister of Labor, I believe when we talk about shaping the future of work, the first thing that has to do is to make sure you have the appropriate legal and regulatory framework. That is why we have to commend ourselves for making sure that we took proactive steps in ensuring that we review the labor laws, coming with the Employment Act, the Overseas Migrant Act. We also have the Work Permit Act, and a number of legislations, including Industrial Relations and Trade Union Act, I think has been passed now. We still have a few more legislations to be passed to ensure that, in terms of ensuring a cumulative, a holistic look at the future of the world of work, for those legislations to be passed. So I want to kindly request the Vice President to support the Minister so that the outstanding legislations are passed to ensure that when it comes to matters of implementation, we have the framework that is completed. As the chairman said, I am now the chairman for the Wages and Compensation Commission. All what we are talking about, when you want to talk about the dignity in labor, we talk about compensation. And it has taken the leadership of this country, the president and the vice president, to make sure that a bold decision is taken to ensure that the Wages and Compensation Commission is established. As somebody was saying, the products of education, the beneficiaries are more the private sector. After having very good people from the universities, most times people try to go away from the public sector because of the current pay structure, and they go to the private sector. In order for us to continue to attract qualified people in the public sector, that's why the Wages and Compensation Commission is established. And it's established primarily for three main reasons. One, to determine the public pay structure, and secondly, to harmonize it to ensure that we have equity and merit, and thirdly, to consider other related matters. For your information, it's not applicable to retired. That's number one. Apart from that, also the Constitution of Sierra Leone also makes provision for distortions by virtue of the provisions that are contained in the Constitution. For instance, the Honorable Vice President seated here is the chairman of the Police Council. The police submit, look at their welfare. Most times, if they are determined, by virtue of his strategic position in government, it's very difficult for Minister of Finance to resist implementation. The same for the President, the Defense Council.
It's just radomatic.
And just transition. This theme captures both our ambition and our sense of urgency. A revolution fueled by rapid technological advancement brings with it unprecedented opportunities. We have the potential to enhance productivity, the ability to open new industries, and the promise of improved livelihoods for our people. Yet, it also presents formidable challenges. We face the potential displacement of workers due to automation, the widening gap between those with the skills of tomorrow and those left behind. I hear they call them BBC, born before computers. Yes, that BBC generation. Well, I don't know which one I belong to. I won't mention the Honorable Vice President. Well, we might have been born before computers, but we have adapted. We have tried not to be dinosaurs that can only be mentioned in pictures. We have grown with the times. Yes. And the urgent need to reskill, upskill, so we will safeguard the dignity of labor and lay the foundations for sustainable growth and shared prosperity. Ladies and gentlemen, the conference must be more than a conversation. It must be a platform for bold ideas, strategic partnerships, and actionable industry. And the critical need for stronger partnerships between training institutions and employers to ensure our graduates possess relevant, market-driven skills. To address these challenges, we must act. The goal is to position Sierra Leone as a forward-looking nation, prepared to engage both the challenges and opportunities of the future of work. I urge all of us to participate with open minds, creative thinking, and a shared sense of responsibility and urgency. Let us leave this conference inspired, united, and equipped with a clear roadmap for action. Let us commit ourselves to building a Sierra Leone where every citizen, regardless of background, enjoys success to decent work, equal opportunity, and a brighter future. Thank you, distinguished colleagues.
Thank you very much. Let's sit down. Honorable ministers, Ambassador, the People's Republic of China, participant, distinguished ladies and gentlemen. First, I must say, today I am very delighted to be here and to make a statement at this maiden National Labour Conference. I am particularly pleased to see that we are here today. The idea of the conference and the Labour Dialogue was conceived last year during the May Day celebrations, when I usually participate and represent His Excellency in those celebrations. I am overwhelmingly bombarded by Employers Federation and Labour Congress with a catalog of complaints. So I told the minister on my side, I said, Mr. Minister, why don't you create a space and a platform here to discuss issues? But it is much more than that. Because when I look around since yesterday and I see the catalog of issues that were highlighted by the Employers Federation and the Labour Congress, I realize the importance of the social dialogue and this conference. This conference, I must say, is part of our broader effort by government to create space for a tripartite dialogue by the Labour Congress, the Employers Federation, and government. Although the tripartite dialogue has a long history of engagement, this platform is a novel vehicle, it's a new vehicle designed to create a broader and more institutionalized forum where we can discuss the future of work. Distinguished ladies and gentlemen, I must say at this stage that this is also in line with the ILO Convention 144 that was ratified by 158 countries, underlining the importance and the imperative for government, workers, and employers to come together to discuss issues of common interest as it relates to work conditions and social justice. And at this point, I want to take the opportunity to thank our sister from the ILO office for the importance that ILO attached to this. Thank you, my sister, for coming all the way from Abuja to be part of this maiden conference. Distinguished ladies and gentlemen, the labor and employment landscape over the decades has seen a lot of ups and downs. Like Mr. Timbo said, we have to be frank to discuss some of these ups and downs. But, however, we are optimistic that this forum, this platform, particularly a platform of this nature, which put into perspective this context, and more so, carve a new pathway for employment and labor discussions in this country. Distinguished ladies and gentlemen, I may not be here in the next couple of hours when the panelists will be exchanging ideas on the future of work, but I'm just going to give you some of my perspective that I hope will future into those discussions. How do we tap into the potential of the informal sector? How do we constantly reduce the cost of labor to enhance, because labor is getting very expensive in China. What does that tell you? It tells you that any government must be mindful of the cost of labor, because the cost of labor can constitute a disincentive for investment. It can also reduce competitivity and the level of employment. Another issue, what kind of tax regime that can support employment opportunities while at the same time enhance and at the same time improve labor conditions. Equally so, how do we get the banking sector to make a shift or a transition from banking, from financing transaction financing to project financing. More often than not, whenever I have the opportunity to engage the West Africa Bankers Association or the banking sector, I usually accuse them of not helping the investment environment in Sierra Leone, the potential of the private sector, the productive capacity, the productive sector, because we believe that the productive sector holds the key to job creation. And I'm convinced that labor unions and employers are vital to supporting government to unleashing the potential of the productive sector. During the first term of His Excellency's administration, we focused essentially, although we are still a little bit below when it comes to the ratio with regards to the number of doctors to patients, but more than any other time we are turning out now 150 to 200 doctors per year in this country, which was not the case a couple of years ago. I will not talk about the governance reform, women empowerment, that today more than any other time we have more women as ministers, we have more women in parliament, and we have, you can see the number of women there, ministers there, they are even more than the 30% that His Excellency said that are present here today. Distinguished ladies and gentlemen, in the second term, our focus is essentially on the productive sector. Why I am giving you this? I'm trying to tell you that if you want to talk about job creation, if you want to talk about the future of work, we as a government, we want to situate that within the context of the 5 big game changers, which means the productive sector holds the future for that. And to do that, I will just focus on 3 key areas that the Employers Federation and other speakers before me have mentioned. We are investing, we are trying to build the needed infrastructure. In key areas, one is energy. We want people to know that over the years, we have increased generation in this country, but because of the expansion and the need in energy, we have been unable to meet the need. If you take Western area alone, when we took over government, Western area had less than 60 megawatts. And the peak demand for that is the kind of infrastructure we are building. We have made massive expansion in digitalization. I'm just making reference to what our sister from LIO was saying, ILO was saying, and the Employers Federation and the Minister of Labor. Today, you cannot shy away from the digitalization and the AI revolution across the world. But Sierra Leone, since 2019, we have done extremely well in that space. I give you some figures. Between 2019 and 2023, fiber backbone, we have increased that to 80%. We have moved from 8 districts to 14 districts that now have fiber connections in this country. We have increased mobile network coverage across this country by 76% between 2019 and 2023. We have increased mobile network coverage as well. When you take the 2G coverage, we are now at 96.8%. When you take the 3G coverage, we are also at 96%. 4G, we are at 87%. And currently, we are piloting the 5G in this country. We have increased the number of people that are using mobile phone between 2019 and 2020. Agriculture is the future of job creation. Make no mistake. And why this is very important to us? It is important to us for several reasons. One, which means we are 8% higher than our sub-Saharan African counterpart, which means Sierra Leone is spending more money to import food. And in Asia, the percentage is 7%, and in Latin America, it's 7.2%. When you have a country like Sierra Leone with very fine geography, fantastic vegetation, we don't see any reason why we should spend 23% of our import in food. His Excellency decided that I'm going to dedicate my energy in this second term on the Feed Salo initiative, which is essentially to increase domestic food production so that we can lower our dependence on food importation. When you do that, you are able to reduce the cost of food, you are able to increase access to food, and then more importantly, you are able to create employment opportunities. In the last 1-2 years alone, according to the recent food inflation index released by the central bank, we have reduced from 23%, we are now between 21%. So it shows that the Feed Salo initiative is building the productive sector. Tourism holds the future for job creation and increased government revenue. So I want to thank the Minister of Tourism that is here with us. She has been piloting that. We now have a strategic framework, a national action plan on moving tourism to the productive sector. Another key sector is the marine resources. In the last 4 years, the Ministry of Marine and Fishery Resources has been one of the highest contributing ministry to revenue. They are doing extremely very well. Why I am saying all of this is because our government has realized the importance of unleashing the potential of the productive sector, because that is where we believe that we will be able to create more jobs, and that sector holds the future of job creation. So for you to talk about the future of jobs, there must be jobs. So we are creating the enabling environment to do that. Distinguished ladies and gentlemen, enhancing competitivity and creating a favorable labor market and employment condition is central to President Julius Maada Bio's job creation vision. And I'm confident that this platform should put all of this into proper perspective so that at the end of the day, we are able to get a plan of action here that government will scrupulously oversee.
Yeah, so the next photo is for all the panelists to join the Vice President and the facilitators. Mr. Cherno Kamara, please, can come on board. Cherno Kamara. Cherno Kamara. Yes. All the panelists and the facilitators, please join the Vice President for a photo op. Please. And the organizers, the Secretariat, Georgina Thompson, Lassine Bokari, and myself.
So the panelists, please. Thank you so very much, Mr. Silla.
So we break for 3 minutes and then we convene. So please don't leave your seats and go too far because we convene in 3 minutes, please. Please hold on to your seats. We start in 3 minutes. Una no left una seats them. We will continue after 3 minutes. That's very important because we need to maintain the time. Please. Okay, so go to start. Yeah. So okay, so we start in 3 minutes. We start in 3 minutes. Mr. Umar Fofana, when the lead facilitator, gets to take over for me shortly, and it will be co-facilitated by Vivian Swing. So we encourage now all for taking our seats back because we start in 3 minutes. We start in 3 minutes. Let everybody take his seats back. We go hand over to the lead facilitator for continuing the process. The session they can start proper. We look at 6 topics where we get various panelists and we go sit down and discuss on that topic today. So we encourage everybody for taking seats back. We start in 3 minutes. Okay, so let me also bear in mind, say we get business exhibition at door. So you can take the opportunity to also for look some of them businesses and then some of them you go interested and then you go support them business them. So we also encourage people to do that after the conference or during the conference. But we encourage everybody for taking seats because we can start shortly. So with the call on the lead facilitator for can take me through because it's on 3 minutes now. We don't get time there against 3. Mr. Umar Fofana, with the call on you kindly for can lead me through. We don't get time and we need the energy in this process. Thank you very much, sir.
Yeah, let me sit down, please. Otherwise, we're going to take internet. Hello? Hello? Could we all be seated, please? After 30 seconds, anybody will move. I mean, I declare stop, who said they're not going to move. Yeah, the one outside, please, when I come inside, let me get started again. Oh, great, let us nothing inside with this meeting. Could you please be seated? All right, I'm pleased to call on my fellow facilitator, Madam Vivian Swill of AYV. Madam Swill, please. Hello? We're getting started, please, let's be seated. It's Alex says Mango say hello to the Vice President. We'll come out, some of plenty person come out. Is that Mr. Ali Sise? I'm pleased to see you after many years. Welcome. Very good to see you.
Good afternoon, everyone. Okay, let's please just settle down so we can proceed and hopefully we'll be able to catch up with the rest of the agenda for today.
And by the way, we're going to salon coffee and Nescafe 90 day. And not see lemongrass and imported tea leaf 90 day. And I'm sure if we prioritize for it, waiting with the grow, we'll get a lot more jobs out there for a lot more people. And I'm very pleased for seeing a friend inside this room. When I is Secretary General for the Sierra Leone Importers Association, we get the biggest cassava farm salon and the biggest gari making machine, Mr. Rashid Conte. He established that in Bo, and he did very well. The only way we get for insurance, we create those jobs and keep those jobs and for protect such industries. I remember a few years ago, I do a story about out of job by city of the new laws. That is so true. We get plenty laws in Sierra Leone, but the majority know very little about the laws a day. But I'm also sure that every year, businesses can come for annual re-registration. Is that right? So when they come, they should begin abridged versions of the copies of our new laws, so they can understand the obligations. And then the one day when our employees them, we can ensure say
in any sector, we self as people get a moral responsibility for support them. We can say labor and expect. If there are people here the labor, then you, before you buy your basket and go to a salon, you say they buy imported. We self not contribute for among them. Then we self begin make effort. Anytime you go for go buy, once you see something when I'm made in salon, prefer for buy them. Now, if that particular thing, like rosapool, we know say we have plants in a salon. If you want it and then you can buy imported. But anything where the local version available, do your cultural side. Not only are we supporting our local farmers, we also the support we help. You know, say most of we local food them are much more healthy than the imported one. So now you self you they do. Let me buy salon and salon. Do you have?
And I make one radical suggestion for government. The free education very good. Very, very good. And for the generation now don't know how this is good. We were born before this thinker, we know I would have dropped out of school because my parents that don't get money for paying me O-level fee. Now once fee, then they pay a fee, then they take them for granted. Even though the free education good, maybe we could go a step further. Sometimes I wonder what to make we don't change the educational system all these generations. Till now they say John is a boy, Mary is a girl. We get salon name, they win a man name and woman name. While we still write books, we still again with man name there as a boy, with man woman name as a girl. While we wear with man clothes imported white and grey, black, well, now we think about batik as uniform for elementary school, gara as uniform for elementary school. We go create a lot of jobs, for example, in McKinney, where we know for gara production. And maybe you build a boutique in Bo, who sell and go transport the gara and go, then they sew the uniform for distributing to some people across the country. I'm sure that way we'll get more and more and more jobs. When you do that kind of thing, the motor drivers union, you get a contract, transport the gara from McKinney to Bo, and then transport the uniform with and so on Bo.
Oh, Sierra Leone. And immediately after this presentation, we would move into a panel.
The panelists can get quite a lot for talk about. So the first thing what I want to talk about is what is AI? I know say we all can hear the term AI, artificial intelligence, but what does it really mean? And what does it mean in the context of the workforce? The second is, what are real life applications of AI? I know say most times when we talk about AI, we think about really fancy things, but sometimes AI they right in front of we and we can able to use them for different purposes. The third, waiting at the state of AI adoption globally as well as Africa. I'll just talk. Leone, AI is not going to do any job displacement.